Yes, yes, yes. It's Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And we are live. Okay. It's the Boxing Talk with Rafi. Where's my scroller? Where's me scroller? Let's have a looky. Boom, boom, boom. You're in tune to Boxing Talk with Rafi. 278. Dang, we're almost at 300. Hold on, that didn't sound right. What's going on? What's muffling? What is muffling my bell? Let's try that again. Okay, a lot better. A lot better. Okay, so it's Boxing Talk with Rafi 278. And we're looking at primarily Frank Warren's rebuttal. Frank Warren's rebuttal to Eddie Hearn. As a matter of fact, rat-a-tat-tat. Let's get that up on the screen. Where are we? Where is it? Oh, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we're looking at Frank Warren's rebuttal to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, who came out at the beginning of the week telling his side of the story and breaking it down as well as he could before the lawyers get a proper look at the paperwork from Bob Aaron's end, Top Rank's end. Okay, so that's the main feature, but we will be taking a little peek at a few other topics in the meantime. Okay, so what's going on in the chat? Okay, what's going on? New. Well, for those who follow me on Twitter, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. For those who follow me on Twitter, they know that the Rafi took a pledge that there would only be a 10-minute tolerance for each show. You know, Rafi's notoriously coming on late, but hey, what can I say? I got a life to live. But yes. Rafi took a pledge, an oath to himself that he wouldn't be starting any more than 10 minutes late. So yes, in effect, we've had some turbocharged, supercharged warp engines installed. Okay, and in comes the First Lady of the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. She goes by the name of Lisa Bales in the building. Okay, so what was I going to do before I got startled by John's rather forthright message? What's going on? You got new warp engines, mate? Well, actually, I have supercharged and turbocharged. Okay, well, first things first. Let's do the sound check. How do I do that? I've almost forgot. Where is it? Where's that window? Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's bring this on up here and let's unmute. Let's see what, as a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat. Let me kill my music so I can hear clearly what's going on. Bring this on up here and let's unmute. Let's see what, as a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat. Let me kill my music. So okay. I can hear clearly what's going on. Bring this on up here and let's unmute. Let's see what, as a matter of. Okay, I think that's acceptable. Let's bring the beats back. You can need to bring it up just a little, just a touch. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That looks like it should be fine. Okay, so we got the sound check done. Let's get into, where do we begin? Let me put the link in the chat. Boom, boom. Where is it? Boom. Okay. So it should be there any second now. You should see the link up here. But where are we going to start? Where are we going to start off with this shiznix? I want to take a look. Okay, this is where we're going to start. Okay. So let's share this. Let's share this before we get into the Frank Warren thing and all that, etc., etc., etc. Before we do that, let's do this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's get that big girl. All right, okay. You should be able to see what I can see. Okay, what the hell? Let me mute this. Let me mute the phone. Let me mute the phone. And in the meantime, okay. In the meantime, we're taking a look. We're taking a look at the Deontay. Oh gosh. Funny. All right. So, okay. Hold on. Let me just adjust the size of that. We don't want any issues. Training day. Okay. So, we're looking at Daniel Dubois and Shane McGuigan. We're looking at their blossoming relationship. As you may know by now, Dubois was with Tibbs. Was really working with Jimmy Tibbs rather than Mark Tibbs. Jimmy Tibbs being the father of Mark. Okay, so let's see where we can come in on this. I want to talk about this for a little bit, just to warm the thing in. It's something I wanted to look at anyway. Okay, so if I can find the correct window and we can get crack-a-lacking. Is this it? I think it is. Okay, so let's have a looky. Let's get the volume right. And let's go straight into this. Let's come out of that and into this. Okay, let's stop shit. Oh, as a matter of fact, I can leave that playing. Damn, I outsmarted myself. And let's see. Hopefully you can hear the shiznix.
Well, not even that. But in 18 months' time, he should be
really that's not it.
Gradually see a big improvement over the next.
Talking of his dad, he's obviously heavily involved in Daniel's career. When Mark Tibbs did an interview recently, I think it was with Boxing Social, he said he hinted very strongly that there was an issue between training someone whose father was so involved with them. I think he said something like, I've worked with fighters like that before. He didn't seem very happy about it. Have you had any sort of issues in that regard? I mean, it's early days.
Okay, so that's where we're coming into this thing. Where are we? Okay, so Shane McGuigan is talking about responding to what Mark Tibbs said. Mark Tibbs said that Daniel Dubois' father, he implied that Dubois' father was somehow getting in the way, or he expected that at some point he saw signs that he would get in the way. So, according to Mark Tibbs, that was a deciding factor for him. He didn't want that. He said he'd experienced situations like that in the past, and so Mark Tibbs said, "No, we can't do this. I don't think we're going to be able to commit to you." So Daniel Dubois, his father is kind of manager, isn't he? Daniel Dubois went to Shane McGuigan. He'd done a little bit of training with Shane McGuigan prior. Shane McGuigan, the trainer of Caroline Dubois. Caroline Dubois, Daniel's little sister. She's expected to be going to the. Well, she is. She's going to the Olympics if it happens this year. It's still some doubt about whether the Olympics are going to go ahead this year. But anyway, so Caroline Dubois trains under Shane McGuigan, and that was a deciding factor. They had a relationship before. They had a relationship, and yeah, Shane was contacted by Dubois' father and said, would he be interested in training Daniel? And Shane jumped at the chance. Shane said, absolutement. Absolutement. Absolutely, I'll train him. Let's have a little look at this. Can we have a little look at this? Let's have a look. We got any volume on that? Okay, we got some volume on that.
A lot of people are saying this is a hard fight and a tough test to come back to. We'll see. To feel that buzz again and to go out there and perform and win and win in devastating fashion again. That's what I live for.
That's what he lives for. So headed over to Shane McGuigan. Shane said, absolutely we'll take him. And I have to say, I feel it's a very, very good move. It's a very good move for Daniel. I rank Shane McGuigan as one of the best trainers in the UK. And I predict that in the next 10 years, he's already had multiple champions. He's already made multiple champions. And I predict that over the next 10 years, Shane McGuigan will be known worldwide as one of the preeminent, not the only trainer, but one of the preeminent trainers in the world, not just the UK. And so I think that Daniel Dubois is in the perfect place right now. What's he saying? What's going on? He's in a perfect place right now under the tutelage of Shane McGuigan.
So I specialise in calisthenics, so I do a lot of body weight strength training with him, keeping him fresh and main things for sparring really at the moment. So we just want to keep him ticking over and as fresh as possible for sparring because he's done most of the hard work. So right now, what we've been working on today was mainly sort of just a bit of speed and explosive stuff, sort of speed strength. So it's keeping it fairly light, few explosive reps, and just working on his mobility and just keeping him ticking over because I think he's sparring tomorrow.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what's the next element? What's the next element of this thing? Okay, I remember. Let's see. Let's hope that the volume, we can work with the volume because they messed up with the volume when they recorded this. Not that, but this. Okay, keep that going in the background and let's see if we can hear the interview, some of this interview. I'm taking a little snippet of an interview from Seconds Out, released on the 24th of May. Okay, let's hear what McGuigan has to say. Dang. Okay, let's hope this can work. Volume's low.
Because, like, a father being involved is a good thing, in my opinion, because it's going to actually keep the fighter safe and happy. And
a father being involved is a good thing because it's going to keep the fighter safe and happy.
It's a big factor, and I have a great relationship with my dad. A lot of people look into you should step out your dad's shadow.
A lot of people say that Shane should step out his dad's shadow.
Actually, when the cameras are off and everything's off, like my dad's always got my best interest and the best interest.
But his dad's always got his best interest at heart.
His best interest at heart, more than anybody.
And Dubois' father has his best interest at heart. So it's a great thing to have.
And as long as he trusts me and and we're all on the same page
in the corner,
then I don't see there being a problem. So absolutely no issues with Dave being involved.
So he's got no issues.
You don't still feel you're in his shadow in any way.
He's got no problem with the Dubois' father being involved.
Like your dad manages fighters and stuff like this, and people trying to throw my dad's name under through the mill a little bit. But I know that actually he's always got the fighter's best interests at heart, and that's just the way.
Says his father's always got his fighter's best interests at heart. So you probably couldn't hear none of that because the volume was a volume problem on their end. Okay, so that was the long and the short of it. That was the thrust of it. Dubois has no problem. I mean, McGuigan has no problem with Dubois' father. Uh-oh. Turn the volume back down. Okay. McGuigan has no issue, no problem with Dubois' father being involved. As a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat, he says he sees it as a positive. A positive. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And in comes a man like John Daly. John Daly, how do you do today? Uh-oh.
Yeah. Ugh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. I hear you, John. I hear you. I hear you. You okay,
Yeah, is that
John?
all right? Yeah. Got
You
fat
okay?
fingers, right?
Sorry?
I've got fat fingers. I'm pressing the wrong buttons.
Okay, no problem, no problem. You are in. You are in. Okay. You got anything to say? Well, first and foremost, before I go to you, let me see what's going on in the chat. T White is in the building. What's going on? What's going on? Let me get this in synchronized order. Okay, T White is in the building. Aaron Daly up in the building. Who else we got? Okay, we got some lurkers. We got some people hiding. Some people who don't want to expose their identity. Okay, that's cool. You can watch in perfect anonymity. But before I forget, yes, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Hit that support button. They're all there for your use. Use wisely. Okay, so where are we at now? Okay, John Daly. The situation appears to be that Shane McGuigan, or rather Daniel Dubois, is now over at working under the tutelage of Shane McGuigan. Shane McGuigan was asked a question. He said, Mark Tibbs. He said that Mark Tibbs intimated that he opted not to work with Dubois because he intimated that he feared interference from the father. So he passed. But to me, Daniel Dubois has moved on to a better place. And I'll tell you why. Iron Kong up in the building. Get to you in a second, Iron Kong, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's a good. I'll tell you why I like the fact that I prefer Dubois training under Shane McGuigan. I think he's in a better place. I think there's more technique. There's more technical work going on. I like that fit better. Shane McGuigan's making world champions. In fact, he just made an undisputed world champion in the form of Josh Haler, who came up under Shane McGuigan, took him from scratch and took him all the way to a world champion before Taylor left. I think he was lured away by the MTK. I think that's what happened. But anyway, I think he's in a better place. John, well, first of all, let me welcome in the Iron Kong. The Iron Kong, how do you do?
Yeah, we're in the house. What's up to you, Rafi, and the great John Deely?
I suppose it's afternoon by you, isn't it, Kong?
Huh?
He says
it's in the afternoon over there.
In the afternoon, in the
Yes, it's 4:53 p.m.
Precisely.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead. I'm just on. What's up, Fight Doctor, and my Ayaba Lisa Bale? What's up, man?
Yeah, Fight Doctor. Yeah, come on in and chat that chat that he was talking last night. I'm ready for you. I was ready for you then, but I thought, you know what, we do this live. Coming in and chat that shizzle you was chatting last night, talking about Frank Warren is on the money. All right, we'll see about that. We're gonna do it. We'll see about that. Don't worry, I'm covering that. We're covering that. You see that inside, you know what's going down, you know when it's going down, you know how it's going down. Anyway, John Daly, talk your talk, my friend. Talk your talk.
Well, it's nice to have a boxing related topic to discuss.
It is. There's not many of them, but it is.
It's nice. I don't know if people remember, but I found Lawrence Okoli a very difficult watch at certain points. I've described his jab as a blind man reaching for a light switch in the dark.
No, I found him an impossible watch, but carry on.
Then he went to Shane and he started doing all the things that I just wanted him to do. Just the straightforward stuff that he's built for doing. I think Shane looked at his attributes and has started to tweak it in the right direction.
Hell yeah.
Now, I think Daniel going there, he's actually going to a better trainer. But I also think what's important is Mark has seen Daniel's father's involvement as a hindrance.
Yeah.
Whereas Shane, you see it as a positive. Now, whatever happens, Daniel's dad's going to be involved. Yes. Whatever you think about that. So, as a trainer, I think it's his job to deal with that relationship as well.
Straight up.
He clearly must have a good relationship with their father, because Daniel's sister is tipped to be a better boxer than Daniel, to be honest, isn't she?
Yes.
I think there's a strong likelihood that that'll be the case. Yeah. So Shane obviously knows how to manage the relationship with the father as well.
Appears so.
So I think, well, he's doing a good job with Daniel's sister. So I mean, he must be doing something right on both fronts.
Yeah, because the father's involved with her as well. Good point.
Oh yeah, exactly. So not only do I think he's going to have an actual trainer who's going to give him better technical schooling, but he's also got a trainer that understands that sometimes it's not just about managing the relationship with the fighter. Sometimes you have to get other people on board who then trust you so that you can do what you need to do. Whereas Mark doesn't want to take on those other relationships. He wants to be left alone to do things his way and have no interference, which is fine. And it probably means it's better for Daniel to go to Shane for both reasons.
Absolutely. Absolutement. The Iron Kong. We're looking at Shane McGuigan, talking about Shane McGuigan accepting the role of Daniel Dubois' trainer, whereas Mark Tibbs declined because he intimated that he feared interference with the father of Dubois Senior. But apparently it's not a problem for Mark Tibbs. Iron Kong, talk to Mike.
Well, some people could deal with it and some people can't. So, so if Shane McGuigan could walk with that, my only thing was the last one we were talking about this is just how involved the father really is in this. Is this a Chris Eubanks Senior situation where Eubanks Senior is just kind of, around and taking up all the attention or whatever? Or is the guy's father just there as support, watching on? Like, for instance, Devin Haney's dad is allowing other people to train his kid, but he's there in the background. You know what I'm saying?
Very sensible. Right.
So, I mean, it's just how involved he is, and just how much influence he has on Daniel. Does Daniel shrink when his father's around? Or does Daniel gain strength when his father's around? Because those two things are possible. Some people shrink when their overbearing parent is around. They can't be themselves.
Let me interrupt you for half a second or a second.
Sure.
Let me interrupt you for a second or two. Okay, so Daniel spoke on this, and he said that his father will always be involved. His father is a big supporter, and so I didn't get the impression that Daniel felt that he was being overwhelmed by his father. I think that Daniel sees his father as his biggest fan, and
I think there's another
under that context, I'm going to go back to Kong and go to you, John. And under that situation, that's not the word I was looking for, but we have to go with it. Under those circumstances, then my perception is that's a very good thing. If you see your father as your biggest fan and he's helping you, and to me, that's a positive. Back to Iron Kong.
Yeah, that's all, bro. Because I mean, I've seen parent-child relationships in these type of things go south.
Yes.
And that's the only thing I was worried about. Is Daniel's father one of these overbearing type guys? I don't know the dude personally. I mean, I don't think any of us know him personally, but
no.
That's all my only concern was. If Daniel finds strength from his father being there, good for him. Maybe Mark Tibbs just didn't want that, and it is what it is for Mark Tibbs. Mark Tibbs got to go and deal with the fact that Ben Davison is out there spreading propaganda on his name. So, Did you see off topic slightly? Did you see Peter Fury say he would not have allowed Ben Davison to try that in his corner?
I didn't see that.
I did actually send you that, Ralph.
Yeah, you sent me that, but I thought it was something else that I'd already seen. But when Iron Kong said what he said, then I realized that what you sent me would have been that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. That's all for me.
It's still worth a watch anyway.
Yeah. You carry on, John. You want to say something?
Well, yeah, I do, because I mean, I think there's kind of proof is out there that certainly Daniel's dad is about Daniel, in that I've never seen any press with him.
Yeah, I've never seen him speaking in the press.
He's just not in the press. So
he's not in the press.
I don't know what he's like.
Let me interrupt you for a second. So in response to Iron Kong, he's definitely not a Chris Eubanks Sr. Chris Eubanks Sr. was all up in the video, all up in the video, and Dubois Sr. is not all up in the video. The only time I've really seen him is when the cameras follow Dubois backstage, pre-fight or post-fight, and then you'll see Big Daddy Dubois, but he's not all up in the video like Christopher Eubank Sr., aka English. So that's a big difference. Back to John Dealey.
Well, yeah, I mean, I actually think the worst culprit of that is John Fury.
Yeah.
Because at least English was one of the best boxers this country's ever produced.
Yes.
Whereas John is probably one of the poorest journeymen we've ever actually produced. And yet he likes to portray an image in the media that he was actually a fantastic boxer. Whereas Chris has always been the seeker of attention. And that's a separate issue. And we've never heard any reports about Daniel being difficult to deal with.
Nope.
If anything, I think Frank's given him a bit of a raw deal. He's got a 5-year deal he's just signed on to with Frank about a year ago, hasn't he? So it would seem that Daniel's dad only cares about the boxing. Now, whether he interferes with how the training should take place, I've got no idea. And I don't think we're ever really going to find out.
I think we'll find out from Shane if there was any problems.
But well, it depends, doesn't it? Because it seems like Shane knows how to manage a relationship.
Well, the thing is that Shane is in a similar situation to Daniel. He had he's got a very influential father in the form of Barry McGuigan, and likewise does Dubois. Dubois Senior is a self-made man. It's said that he became a millionaire off his own back in the poster business. So he's a self-made man. Barry McGuigan, Shane's father, was a boxer that made it to the championship level and made a significant amount of money.
He was also extremely famous. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, Barry McGuigan and Frank Bruno were probably the best two known boxers when I was really little.
Very, 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 very famous, and plays an influential role in his son Shane's life. So the parallels there are deep. And I think perhaps Shane alluded to the notion, the fact that because of that, because he has a similar relationship to his father that Daniel has to his, they're almost like twins in a sense, in terms of their relationships. There is a symbiosis between the relationships, and also the fact that Dubois Senior was an admirer of McGuigan Senior. Yeah, I think there's some very interesting times ahead. Like I say, I think that Shane McGuigan, do not be surprised within the next 5 years when Shane McGuigan emerges as not just one of the best boxers in the UK, trainers in the UK, but one of the best trainers in the world. You heard it here on the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. OMG. Okay.
I definitely think that he's on the path to that, Rafi.
Yeah.
And irrespective of what Daniel's father is actually like, I think Shane is going to be the place where Daniel can flourish the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what matters, isn't it?
That's really what matters. And also an interesting aside, Iron Kong, an interesting aside is that the interviewer said, yeah, when I came in, I saw your dad waiting for you outside in the car. In the van. And Daniel just smiles and says, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the last time I said that was when the only time I've really seen his dad.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was driving Daniel somewhere. This was very, very early on in his career. He was driving Daniel somewhere. So I guess the interviewer said Daniel don't have his license, so his dad drives him wherever.
That's right. So he wasn't in the place. He was waiting outside in the van. I think we can read between the lines with that one. It's giving him space. Don't appear to be interfering. Although he will have input and he will have discussions. I like it. I like the situation. I know Iron Kong is concerned. I think John Daly's cool with it, but I positively like it. Daniel Dubois has spoken on it, and he's basically said his dad's his biggest fan. I like that. Okay. So what's going on now? Let's get into it. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Rafi's been busy today. Rafi gonna be busy tomorrow. Things are picking up nicely. Okay. So how do I do this now? We're going into, well, the first things first. Let's stop sharing that. And how am I going to do this? Shizniks? We're looking at one topic, but there's three strings. I think at least two strings. No, I'm pretty sure there's three. 1, 2, yeah. Where's the third one? We're going to be juggling screens. We juggle. One. That's the second one. Where's the third one? Okay, maybe it's two streams. That we're looking at. Okay. Okay, so, yeah, it is 3. Where is the third? There it is. There's the third one. Okay, I was right. Okay, let's try and do this. Okay, so stream 1, let me share. Stream 2, stream 3. Okay, I've got it. This is how we're going to do it. So we're going to look at Frank Warren's interview titled Joshua versus Fury Never Signed. Wilder, no interest in step aside. That's the one we're looking at, also from Seconds Out. So we're going to be listening to some excerpts from that. And also we're going to be looking at, what's that guy's name? What's that cat's name? The big fat cat. What's his name? It'll come to me in a second.
78.
Hennessy.
Oh.
Mick Hennessy, the big fat cat, Hennessy. So we're going to be looking at Mick Hennessy, what he had to say. And then we're going to get into the interview. Okay, that's the order we're going to do it in. Okay, so, damn, it's complex. Okay, so we got Victor Bada up in the building. as well as Wizard Sleeves, Philip Carl Roberts.
Hey, Raf, I gotta get in the car, bro. So I'll
No
slide up.
problem. No problem. No problem, Kong.
Yeah.
Get back in when you can. That's all cool.
Yeah.
And the gang. Okay, so joining us is Victor Barder, Dr. Woodok, and the Philip Carl Roberts. Okay, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, and hit the support button. And tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Okay. Oh, and the H Mount 9 also up in the building. Okay. So let's continue with this thing. Let's keep it moving. Okay, so hold on. First things first, let me just pin the link. Okay, so that's pinned. Right. Now let's do this. Okay, so first thing I'm going to share is this. Okay, folks, buckle in. We're going on a ride. Okay, so the first thing, Exhibit A, is this. Before we go anywhere, this says Fury versus Joshua. Bob Arum now confident the fight will happen on August the 14th. And he said that on May the 13th. Okay, so that's Exhibit A. Right, fine. Stop sharing that. Okay, now let's go to Exhibit. Where is it? Hold on a second. That's that. Okay, that's that. Right. Boom. 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 Okay, is this? Yes. Mick Hennessy. This is Mick Hennessy's piece. Let me nod just so people can read along if they so desire. Okay. Right. Okay, this is good. Okay, so what's the title? What's the title of this piece? Okay, so Mick Hennessy says Tyson Fury's court ruling that denied the Anthony Joshua fight was not a surprise, says the WBC champion's former promoter, Mick Hennessy. Okay, so Mick Hennessy says, I knew something like this was going to come out, 100%. I knew it. So it didn't surprise me in the least. Former promoter Mick Hennessy expected Tyson Fury to be denied a fight against Anthony Joshua. So I'm going to say this as straight from the off. Where is it? Okay. So straight from the off, Mick Hennessy, Fat Cat Hennessy, Fury's former promoter, says that he knew it. He knew that Deontay Wilder would be granted the trilogy fight. He knew it. He hadn't seen the paperwork, but he knew it. But yet, I'll refer you back to Exhibit A. So Mick Hennessy knew it, but Bob Arum alleges that he did not. Okay, keep that in mind as we move. Okay, so where is it? Okay, so Tyson Fury's court ruling that denied an undisputed world title fight against Anthony Joshua was not a surprise, says his former promoter. Fury has signed a contract for the third fight against Deontay Wilder after arbitration. After an arbitration judge ruled that he should face the American next. Okay. What's this? All right. So Hennessy, who guided Fury to a unified world champion title triumph over Vladimir Klitschko in 2015, insisted that he expected the collapse of the proposed fight against Joshua in Saudi Arabia. He told Sky Sports, I was not surprised one little bit, really, because you've got to realize that Deontay Wilder has got very, very capable and extremely professional people in Shelley Finkel and Al Heyman. And although they haven't joined the circus, they've been sitting in the background, doing their due diligence and not mouthing off. Okay. Sound a little bit bitter there, Mick. A little bit bitter. They've been quietly working away in the background. And when you know how good and how capable these people are, I knew something like this was going to come about 100%. So I knew it. So it didn't surprise me in the least. Says Mick Hennessy over here. Damn, loves a Mars bar. That man loves a Mars bar. Okay. So where we at?
I think he's a fan of the battered Mars bar.
Yeah, it's more efficient calorie loading, definitely. Hennessy still plans the career of Fury's cousin, Huey, and admits he would not have committed to a fight while court proceedings were ongoing. Would I have done something different? Yeah, 100%, said Hennessy. You can't put these deals together while there's an arbitration in place. That's way too presumptuous. It's crazy. It's crazy. Did Mick Hennessy ever, was Mick Hennessy ever in a situation where he was faced with that position? I don't know. He doesn't say. Okay, maybe during that period, if they were able to fight other fights, especially Joshua. Joshua could have been working this whole time, couldn't he? Well, my rebuttal to that, Mr. Hennessy, is obviously he could have been working this whole time, but he was assured, Hearn was assured that the fight, that the arbitration would only result, the worst possible outcome of the arbitration would be that they would have to chuck Deontay Wilder a little bit of step-aside money or compensation, sorry, not even step-aside, just compensation. Arum assured Hearn that was the worst possible outcome. Now I've heard people come out and say, well, hold on a second. I mean, what are you going to take Arum's word for it? Listen, your business partners at this stage. Your business partners at this stage, and presumably you would have to assume that your business partner wants the best, wants the biggest fight. But apparently in this case, that was not the case. Okay, so Bob Arum told a pack of lies when he said that, yeah, it's no problem. I've shown you Exhibit A. Bob Arum said he's confident the fight is going ahead. John D. Lee.
I'm just a little bit confused. So presumably Mick Hennessy's leveling this criticism at Bob Arum and Frank Warren, who both went on record saying that they were working to get the deal done.
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, who's it actually directed at?
That's a good point. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Let's see if we can establish that as we move along. As a matter of fact, let me just see what's going on in the chat. Let me see if everything is copacetic. What's going on? What is going on? I'm having a look. Everything seems to be okay. We got Rob 87 out of Canada up in the building. Okay. Yeah. Everything seems in order. Okay. So let us continue. On. Let's try and see, is he leveling some blame at somebody? Where is it? Okay. So Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, and Fury's US representative Bob Arum have suggested the fight can be rescheduled for December. Fury has vowed to inflict another crushing defeat on Wilder. Wilder, this contract is signed. Told Top Rank, his American promotional team. You're getting smashed when he was interested in that though. Okay. Oh, is that the end of that? Oh, that's the end of that? That was kind of inconclusive. Who's that? Olivia Newton-John? Back in the younger days? She had the Farrah Fawcett cut before Farrah Fawcett. Don't disrespect Olivia Newton-John. Certainly not in the 70s or wherever. Okay, so yeah, that appears to be the situation. I don't know. It's up to conjecture who, if anybody.
It would seem to me that his comments are aimed at Eddie Hearn, because he's talking about what Joshua could have been doing. But however, it seems a bit misplaced, really. You know,
he doesn't seem to address the treachery.
Well, it's not even the treachery. You know, if he's saying, well, I wouldn't have been trying to arrange a fight for a fighter when there's an arbitration case going on. What about the promoters and manager of the fighter that was facing an arbitration case? Why is he not criticizing them for trying to negotiate a fight that they actually signed for? So there was actually signed documentation from Tyson Fury before they got the site fee pertaining to an Anthony Joshua fight.
Yes.
Why isn't Mick criticizing that? Seems very interesting that he's chosen to only level criticism at Team Joshua. But obviously, this is a man who's closely associated with the Furies. Seems a bit convenient to me.
Closely associated with the Furies and showing a very, very clear bias. Good observation there. He seems to be leveling these accusations of irresponsibility at Hearn. There's a suggestion of that. There's a hint of that because he doesn't address the treacherous ways of Bob Arum, who, you'll recall, Exhibit A. Do I need to bring it up again? No problem out. Just play the demo. Where is it?
Well, the biggest damning thing is the fact that Tyson Fury, and I believe his promoters are also party to this contract, signed a contract to do a deal with Anthony Joshua when they were facing arbitration with Wilder. And yet everybody is trying to find ways to blame AJ and Fury for this and exonerate Tyson Fury. Why are we always having to find ways to justify Fury's behavior and have a go at the man that just fights his mandatories and top challengers and tries to make the fights and actually sends the offers out?
It's bizarre, it's crazy, it's upside down. Mick Hennessy, Tyson Fury's former promoter, you'll recall he took Tyson Fury to court to claim compensation for Tyson apparently breaking his contract with Mick Hennessy. But he still got close ties with the Furies. Of course, he still promotes or still engaged. He still deals with or manages or what's it called, Huey Fury. So he still has a relationship with the Furies.
Tyson can't be on that bad a relationship with him, because when Tyson was talking about all his 10 pints a day he was drinking and now he wasn't training, that was a Mick Hennessy card that he was attending.
Okay, so it looks like they've patched up. They've patched up. There was a bit rocky at one time, but it looks like they've patched up, and the compensation has healed most of the wounds. Okay, the compensation that Tyson Fury had to pay Mick Hennessy, I think it was 2020 last year. So yeah, but he's definitely got his sights set on. He's not looking at Tyson Fury. He's not looking at Bob Arum of Top Rank. He's not looking at Frank Warren of Queensbury Promotions. He seems to be aiming his poison dart or his pea shooter at Eddie Hearn. Not mentioning nothing about the treacherous ways of Bob Arum. Not mentioning nothing about what we suspect, the fact that Tyson Fury was in on it. Strongly suspect Tyson Fury was in on it. Tyson Fury's actions with the Instagram post. Yeah, it's on like Donkey Kong. One day, and then the very next day, the arbitrator has ruled that I'm fighting Deontay Wilder. So be it then. I'll fight Deontay Wilder and then go on to Joshua. That second bit there looking like public relations, looking like damage limitation, damage control. And most of you will have seen my video on John Fury, father of Tyson. You'll have seen that video where John Fury comes out and appears to be doing more damage control, saying, "Yeah, we'll get this done we'll get Deontay Wilder out of the way, and then we'll go on to fight Anthony Joshua in December." But hold on a second, if Anthony Joshua fights in August, then we have September, October, November, December. That's 4 months later. Is that likely? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. But with the amount of messing around that these guys do, I'm dubious. I'm highly dubious. I can see Tyson Fury trying to take Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua on another waltz around the merry-go-round, around the mulberry pole, whatever. Yeah, and so I just see more messing around. And damn, I got to go with the flow. I got to go with the flow. So before I go to the Frank Warren, I got to keep this thing synchronized. Oh, yeah, you said your piece on that bit, John. I take it.
Yeah. I mean, just to sum up, it just seems a bit confusing that he has got a lot to say about Eddie Hearn being crazy to try and make a fight when the opponent is facing arbitration, but he doesn't have anything to say about the management of the fighter who's facing arbitration signing a contract for a fight, which they did. So it seems a bit funny to me.
Yeah, seems very, very skewed. Seems very, very skewed. Okay, Soldier Boy looking on intently. Okay, so I've rejigged it. This is the fourth string or the third string of 4 streams. Okay, or strings to this piece. Okay, so Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury might not happen until 2023. Fears Steve Bunce. Okay, can you see that? Let me just highlight that so there's no ambiguity. Okay, what's going on there? Let's drop that down. Damn. James Jameson comes in. What kind of time do you call this? James Jameson, he needs his evening naps these days. You know how that go. Okay, so as we continue on. Okay, so where are we? The World Heavyweight title showdown between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury might not happen until at least 2023. Fears. Oh, damn, that's very hard to see. Let's bring that up in size so that hopefully you can see that on your screens. Can I go one? All right. Let me have a look at how that looks now. Yes. Okay. So the World Heavyweight title showdown between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury might not happen until at least 2023. Fears. BBC. Radio 5 Live's Steve Bunce. Okay. So we all know how it fell through. It might not be December or even next year, said Bunce. Will AJ versus Fury ever happen? I have my doubts. Okay, let's have a look for his quotes. Okay. All right. Okay, so Bunce says, I'm convinced there is going to be a hurdle in one of these fights that one of these champions can't get over. I'm convinced. Ukrainian fighter Usyk has the potential to cause Joshua problems, apparently, according to Bunce. I think Usyk has the potential to give Joshua a real headache. Let me try and do it in his voice. I think Usyk has the potential to give Joshua a real headache in terms of technique and making Joshua go looking for it. Okay. What's going on? Yeah. Okay. So Wilder, whatever the odds are now, they will be slashed. People will be buying into the Wilder third fight victory. He will look different. He'll be faster and slicker. If Fury's training so hard and he's working in the gym so hard in Las Vegas, why is he always on the jet going to Texas or Miami or landing back in Las Vegas or leaving Vegas? It's only a tiny jet. There's no boxing ring on that jet. What's this here? He seems to have spent the last 3 weeks on jets, spinning himself, sunning himself, going all over America. When does Fury actually settle down and start preparing for Wilder? He's not been training for Wilder. He's been training for a whole different guy since about December, has he? Now he has a whole different opponent in the opposite corner. Okay, I get the feeling that's it. Okay, that's it. That's it. So Bunce ultimately doesn't think that this fight gets made until 2023. 2023, according to Bunce. And you know, I can easily see that. But whatever we think, Tyson Fury is probably going to try and go the other way. So if everybody thinks it's happening in 2023, then he might sign for December. That's what I'm saying. Whatever we're thinking, he'll do the opposite. John D. Lee.
Well, one thing that's not made implicit in that article is Steve Bunce also works for ESPN.
Say that again?
Steve Bunce also works for ESPN.
Oh. Okay.
He presents ESPN UK version of American Sports Talk Show. So again, I find it a bit difficult to think that he's impartial on this.
Yo, hey John, you don't get tired of being an Anthony Joshua fanboy? You big dosser, you? Shout out to Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio. You already know H Money in the building, the Fight Doctor in the building, and you know he's on Rick James status.
John, do you want to respond to H Money?
I don't really have the time for it. I was on a different live the other day. He was trying to call me his brother. Not really.
I called you a dosser. A dosser. You a
You've
big
called
dosser.
Things,
A
H
dosser.
Money. I don't
You a
remember
dosser.
ever insulting
Big
you.
dosser. You dosser.
I don't remember ever insulting you. So if you want to continue this, carry on.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, H Money? We're not gonna be doing that today. We're not gonna be doing that today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're not gonna do that. So finish what you were saying, John, please.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it needed to be pointed out that Steve Bunce does work for ESPN. So I'm a bit skeptical of what he's got to say about this from my point of view. I don't think Tyson Fury wants to fight AJ for whatever reason. It's not the first time he's ducked him. He ducked.
You're a fanboy. You're an Anthony Joshua fanboy. That's
right.
No, he's gone. Okay. He disappeared.
He gets very emotional if you interrupt him, but he likes to spend his time interrupting you.
He does.
Anyway, my point being, there was a venue booked in April of 2019 for Anthony Joshua to fight an opponent. Initially, it was offered to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder turned it down. It was then offered to Tyson Fury, 40% split, and Tyson Fury turned it down to go a different way. So if that's not a duck, explain to me what it's supposed to be. So that's a clear-cut time where he has already ducked Anthony Joshua. They've then done whatever they've been planning to do, but not fought him again. After signing pieces of paper to say that they were going to fight him, after him announcing to the world last year the fight was done, after him announcing that the fight was done the day before the arbitration case. Now, whatever criticism you want to put on Joshua and Eddie Hearn, it's difficult to say anything other than they were highly naive and foolish to believe that it was going to happen, although Joshua went on record saying he didn't think he was going to fight him anyway. So in my opinion, and if people want to limit it down to one duck, feel free, but I think he's ducked him twice. Also, Tyson Fury's never sent an offer to AJ for AJ to fight him on his terms.
Bam. Bam. Damn. Damn. Okay. Both Wilder and James Jameson writes, both Wilder and Tyson have taken 1.5 years from AJ's career. Time wasting so and so's. Okay. So, what are you saying now? Okay. So in comes the man like, well, I'll let him introduce himself.
Fight Doctors in the house on Rick James status as always. I would like to see peace in the Middle East, and I would like to broker some peace between H Money and Mr. D. Lee. So how do we broker peace between these two gentlemen? What do we need to do?
I have a problem with H Money. He just comes on here, calls me a fanboy, calls me a dosser, and departs. I don't have a really good time. There isn't a conversation to be had, Fight Doctor. I don't understand why I'm supposed to care about somebody calling me names and running away. It's a little bit. It reminds me of the fighter that he supports, though.
Okay. Well, I suppose.
Yeah, broker that.
Well, we'll have to revisit the topic another day when H Money is here, because he's skipped off, gone on. He's departed. Yeah.
Departed. They made a film, The Departed. H Money is the departed. Well, I did that. Okay, so I know why you're here, Fight Doctor. I know why you're here. Let's get into that. Well, actually, that's the time to get into that. So let's stop sharing that. And no, I'm not going to share that. I'm going to share the volume, but the sound, but I'm not going to share the visuals. Nobody need them problems. Nobody need them problems. Okay. You eager to say something? Fight Doctor's eager to say something. Go ahead.
I'm skeptical that we're going to see an undisputed fight at heavyweight anytime soon.
Why?
Well, for one, politics and the way that the
H Money's, the Fight Doctor's internet has cut out on him once again. Yes, that is a great movie, The Departed. Is it the same one I'm thinking about? Is it the one with Leonardo DiCaprio in it? Is that the one, John Daly, The Departed, with Leonardo DiCaprio in it? I think that's The Departed. That's the one I'm thinking about. The Chicago Dirty Cops. Okay, so hold on. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's get into this thing now. Let's get into this thing. Okay, let's get the volume up high.
Right, can be long-winded this. So, the fight back in January, we agreed terms between all the parties that to how we would negotiate and move forward for the fight. That's ourselves, Top Rank, Matchroom, both Tyson and Anthony Joshua and their respective management companies. In that agreement, there is a clause referring to the arbitration, and it's still outstanding. The view of I think you've seen Bob Parent's quotes on it. The view from his lawyers was that they felt that that it was at an end, and that also that there'd be no problem moving forward. Having said that, the arbitrator hadn't given his decision, and it doesn't matter what Eddie Hearn wants to say at the moment. The facts are he was very much aware of that agreement because he signed it, and so did AJ, as well as everybody else.
Hold on. What did he just say? Did Frank Warren say they were very much aware of the arbitration? Yeah, they were very much aware of the arbitration, Frank Warren, but they were not very much aware that Deontay Wilder was going to be granted a trilogy fight. As a matter of fact, rat-a-tat-tat, Bob Arum assured us all that the worst possible outcome is that Tyson Fury might have to pay some compensation to Deontay Wilder.
So yesterday I was lying today I'm telling the truth. Yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth.
Yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth.
That's a direct quote from Bob Arum. So every time you guys mention the fact that you were quote unquote assured by Bob Arum that the worst possible outcome was X, Y, or Z. Well, the same gentleman says, a direct quote from the same gentleman is, yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth. So again, like my mentor always taught me, you must consider the source. And if your source of information is Bob Arum, well, yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth.
Fight Doctor, did you hear my comments on this earlier, saying that Eddie Hearn has been very naive and foolish to believe Bob Arum?
100%. I agree 100%. Eddie Hearn should know better.
I don't understand how you're disagreeing with us. Rafi said the same thing. We said it the very day that arbitration was announced. We were on here discussing it, talking about how foolish Eddie Hearn had been for believing Bob Arum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the greater point in that is that we've always thought that Eddie Hearn has not played a strong hand when he's got the king of the ring. He's got the king of the ring.
I'll take it.
Books.
I'll take it.
I haven't finished. He's got the king of the ring on his books, but yet he's not playing his hand as if he's got the king of the ring on his books. And how does that pertain to this? Well, I don't know if it does. I mean, the situation here is that Bob Arum lied. Bob Arum conned people. Bob Arum duped people. Duped everybody. That the only worry was compensation. So there was no worry. There's no squirming out of that. Bob Arum conned everyone into thinking that what he's saying was true. Was that the only problem? Well, there was no problem. The only problem would be for Fury that Fury would have to pay some compensation to Deontay Wilder, and it was a blatant lie. And the reason we know it's a blatant lie is that there's been no comeback. Nobody's come back and said, hold on a second, our lawyers have really looked at it, and no, that is not a fair arbitration. No one said that. So therefore, we have to acknowledge that. And also, Bob Arum had the option of cancelling the contract, apparently, according to Eddie Hearn, whose lawyers have looking at the stuff, and one of their first findings is that Bob Arum had the opportunity, should he have wished, to cancel the contract, and therefore there would be no trilogy fight, but he opted not to do so.
And the date on that's quite significant as well, because the date on that would have been December.
Yes.
And now Frank's talking about a piece of paper signed in January in this quote.
What do you mean? What do you mean, paper signed in January?
So when Frank talks about Eddie knowing about the arbitration,
yeah,
signed, Frank says that was in January.
Frank said that was in January?
Yeah, just then in the quote you played out.
But okay, let me have a little listen.
So Eddie Hearn's lawyers have looked over the paperwork and said that they could have cancelled the trilogy fight in December.
Yeah.
But they agreed to go into mediation and arbitration, and they didn't have to.
In January?
No, they could have done this in December.
Okay.
That's what Hearn's lawyers have. That's what Eddie Hearn is contesting this week in his interview that he did on IFL. And Frank Warren's quote just there says they all signed papers to make the fight, but there was a clause in there acknowledging the arbitration. But those papers were signed in January, a month after. A month after they could have got out of the fight, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they tied themselves into the fight by not getting out of the fight. The fight doctor.
I smell some lawsuits. Okay. I smell lawsuits. I don't know when, but I think before the smoke clears, somebody is going to be suing someone else. I suspect that the someone getting sued will be Top Rank. I also suspect that the reason why Fury did not cancel, if that was even an option, but if the reason why Fury didn't cancel the trilogy matches because it would have cost them a tremendous amount of money, and that fighting Wilder was the more economically feasible option. All right. I mean, why give somebody $10, $15 million when you can just fight them? I mean, that makes more sense. So I think that's kind of what happened here. And again, listen, what you guys were saying about Eddie Hearn, 100% true. I agree. I'll take it a step further. And I would say that Eddie Hearn is just a bad businessman. I mean, because it's painfully apparent to me that Bob Arum had a plan B, probably a plan C, and a plan D. Eddie Hearn just had a plan A that went south.
Well, we know that Bob Arum had a plan B. Well, his plan B was his plan A, though. And as for Eddie being a bad businessman, well, who's the biggest name in boxing? Who's the biggest guy in boxing right now? The Fight Doctor.
Who's the biggest guy in boxing right now who doesn't have a fight?
Hold on a second. I asked you a simple question, my friend. Who's the biggest guy in boxing?
And I'm answering the question with a question because the answers to both questions.
Can I have a name?
The answer to both questions is the same. Anthony Joshua.
Who's the second biggest name in boxing? Who's the second
Canelo,
biggest guy?
Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez.
And who who do those guys fight under? Whose umbrella?
Eddie. Well, Alvarez fights under his own umbrella.
Eddie, I'll say it for you. Eddie Hearn. Okay.
All right. If you believe that Eddie Hearn is Alvarez's promoter, then I have some oceanfront property to sell you in Nevada.
Who is Canelo's promoter?
Canelo is his own promoter.
Okay. So which promoter does Canelo work closest with?
Well, he might. Well, Eddie Hearn right now, but
there's no mic. It's a simple question with a simple answer.
No, I said Eddie Hearn right now. Right now.
Address this.
Yeah.
After the Billy Joe Saunders fight, Canelo came out and confirmed that he wanted to continue to work with Eddie Hearn. What do you have to say about that fight, Doctor?
Like I said, Canelo Alvarez is his own promoter. Okay, don't get it twisted. Listen, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Eddie Hearn, Canelo Alvarez can work with any promoter in the business and make as much or more money than he's making working with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn needs Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez does not need Eddie Hearn.
But Canelo Alvarez chooses Eddie Hearn. He chooses.
Listen, Canelo Alvarez chooses Eddie Hearn in the same way the guy who just got out of jail chooses a $2 whore. I don't see the difference between the two scenarios. Okay? Because listen, Canelo Alvarez, well, nonsense. Canelo Alvarez just got out of the jail, known as Golden Boy Promotions. And so what does he do? He chooses the first $2 whore who comes his way, named Eddie Hearn.
Very disrespectful fight, Doctor. Very disrespectful. Okay, so that's.
Oh, hold on. I can't let that pass. I can't let that pass.
I'm talking. I'm saying what I feel. Now, Eddie, you say Canelo is his own promoter. Listen, let's cut the nonsense. Canelo is working with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is Canelo's promoter and has promoted his last X amount of fights. What is it, 3, 4 fights? So that is the harsh reality. Eddie Hearn has got Canelo Alvarez on his books. He's got Anthony Joshua on his books. He's got the 2 biggest commodities in boxing.
Right.
His books.
Right.
I have a question.
No, Fight Doctor. You made a very sweeping statement there about what Canelo Alvarez chose to do when he left Golden Boy. So are you denying that when he got out of his contract with Golden Boy, Canelo Alvarez had talks with the PBC and turned down their offer?
Hey, look, I don't know who he talked to, but what I do know is that Canelo Alvarez chose the easiest prostitute he can get his hands on. And in this case, that prostitute's name was Eddie Hearn. Okay?
Eddie Hearn is not a prostitute. He's a promoter. It's very
promoter, prostitute. I failed to see an appreciable difference between the two, sir, in this case.
So you you very nicely sidestepped my question. Do I need to go off and get the link?
You guys have, wait. All right, sorry.
Hold on. Just wait for me to finish my sentence. I'll give you ample time to talk. So, do I need to go and get the links showing that Canelo Alvarez was actually in talks with PBC before Hearn and chose not to take them up on their offers?
No, because that's probably what happened. I'm not denying that. Okay,
well,
that's probably what happened.
Representing it as if he just took Eddie Hearn because he was the first quickest option. But actually, the first option was Al Heyman and the PBC, but he chose not to take that.
What I'm saying is the reason why Alvarez chose Eddie Hearn is because Eddie Hearn had a greater number of tomato cans for Canelo Alvarez to knock over and make the most amount of money. So Eddie Hearn was the lowest priced whore out of all of his options. Eddie Hearn was the easiest one.
What position are you in to be calling another man a whore?
Well, hold on a minute, Rafi. I rather than just talk about names being flung around, let's have a look at what the fight doctor is claiming here. So the fight doctor is claiming.
So wait, no, hold on a second. No, wait. Now I've heard you guys. You've asked your questions. I've answered your questions. Now I need to have my say. All right, I need to have my say.
Hey, you've had it 3 times, so I'm just.
No, sir. I was answering the question you asked. Now I have a question.
Go on.
Now, I have a question. Now, my question is this: in the last year, okay, in the last 12, I tell you what, in the last 18 months, collectively, between Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua, what is the biggest fight that Eddie Hearn, heretofore known as the $2 whore, what is the biggest fight that the $2 whore has promoted between those two fighters in the last 18 months?
18 months. I can answer that.
In the last 18 months, what's the biggest fight?
Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua 2, December 2019.
Gentlemen, I rest my case.
$1 million.
Because the simple fact that in 18 months, that's the biggest fight the $2 whore has been able to promote speaks volumes. Okay? It speaks volumes.
The second one is Canelo Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders. I think they sold out 63,000 people in Dallas at the Cowboy Stadium. How many events has Al Heyman put on where they've sold out a stadium with 63,000 tickets in the US?
I don't know and I don't care. I'm not an Al Heyman. Listen, I'm not an Al Heyman fan. Okay, I'm not.
That broke all US records.
Listen, Al Heyman does not promote Anthony Joshua, nor does he promote Canelo Alvarez. So
that is
comparing apples to oranges here, sir.
That was an event promoted by Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, and that event holds the record for indoor tickets sold in the US. Those are facts. That's just.
But my question, the simple fact of the matter is this:
you asked about the big fights that Eddie Hearn won. So question.
Okay, but the fights, but the facts of this: the fight itself was not inspiring. I mean, who in the hell cares about Andy Ruiz? I mean, seriously.
Totally different now. The bottom line.
I mean, you guys are making it. Wait, you guys want to make it sound like something.
The biggest fight. So I'm just coming up with the numbers.
You guys want to sit here and make it sound as if Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz is somehow the modern day equivalent to Ali Frazier. It's not. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but guess what? The fight, in a historical sense, means nothing. It's a meaningless fight. It didn't mean anything.
You are all over the shop. 1 minute you're saying that Eddie Hearn is a $2 whore, the first $2 whore that Canelo came across. Then we established that actually he was in talks with the PBC. You are all over the place. Listen.
No, do you know who's all over the place? $2 whores are all over the place. That's who's all over the place. Okay?
It's not classy. It's not classy. It's not what the hell? It's not classy. Addressing people the way you are. It's emotional. I'm just trying to stick to the facts over here. Eddie Hearn is Canelo's choice. Canelo chose Eddie Hearn over PBC, over all of the top promoters. All the top promoters, Canelo chose Eddie Hearn, and he said that he never really had a good ring walk. He told Eddie Hearn, hold on. He's told Eddie Hearn he's never had a good ring walk. And you see what Eddie Hearn makes happen? Did you see his last ring walk? It was highly impressive. And so Eddie Hearn is giving Canelo the kind of promotion that he wants. He's treating him like the champion that he is. And you see the relationship. The relationship is blossoming. It's blooming. The bottom line is, although it may stick in some people's craw, Eddie Hearn has the two biggest commodities in boxing under his wing. And I'm moving on from that.
Wait, hold on a second. There's one last point I need to make, if I may, please.
Let me get the clock. Okay, carry on. Go.
Now, you've made all these proclamations concerning Eddie Hearn, and my answer to that is this. Some people prefer top shelf, right? Some people like the best. Some people like to drive Lamborghinis instead of Volkswagens. Some people like to drink top shelf liquor as opposed to, rock gut liquor. And some people like high class prostitutes as opposed to $2 whores. Canelo Alvarez is one of those people who likes $2 whores as opposed to top shelf prostitutes.
Yeah, well, can you stop?
There's nothing wrong with that, okay?
Unsavory analogies, that most unsavory, unedifying. It's just you're talking about top shelf, and you go down into the gutter. You're talking about top shelf whilst you are wallowing in the gutter, and you don't even see the contradiction in that. Anyway, that was your 45 seconds. John D. Lee, go.
So Fight Doctor's contention was Eddie wasn't a good businessman on what are the biggest fights that he put on. So I then display the numbers of the biggest fights financially and tickets sold that Hearn put on. You then move the goalposts to best fights. Well, how about Chocolatito Estrada? That was a pretty good fight. It wasn't big financially, but it was a good fight.
Is that a question for me to answer?
Yeah. Well, you wanted quality, so I'm giving you a quality fight. I've given you big fights financially, big fights tickets sold, and now a high quality fight.
Well, the question was never if Eddie Hearn has ever put on a meaningful fight or a quality fight. The question was, has Eddie Hearn put on a meaningful fight or a quality fight or even a big fight as it concerns Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua in the last 18 months? And the answer to that question is no. And I'm sorry, but Joshua Ruiz too does not qualify as a big fight. Yes, if the question is, was it commercially successful? Of course it was. But fighting the replacement to the replacement who knocks you out, that's not a big fight. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Okay? That's not a big fight. Maybe in the land of $2 whores, that's a big fight. But in the real world where we live, where real boxing fans live, Joshua Ruiz 2 was not a big fight. It wasn't.
Okay, pure idiocy and pure lunacy. Joshua Ruiz was not a big fight. What the hell are you on? I don't even know if it warrants a response. It's just so bloody ridiculous. I'm not even going to dignify such tomfoolery with a response. Your notions have been smashed. Canelo's working with Eddie Hearn. Anthony Joshua working with head Eddie Hearn. Do you think it's a coincidence that the two biggest commodities in boxing are working with Eddie Hearn? OMG. Okay, the lunacy has to stop there. Okay, let's stop this. Let's get into why we came here. Absolute lunacy. So let's get into this Frank Warren interview. We've already started it, I think. let's get cracking. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Okay. And the referee ain't got much time. Okay, let's go.
Negotiations were going on for the fight for quite a while, as we all know. Seemed like it became every day. Hearn was announcing that the fight's on. Tomorrow we'll do the contracts, we'll be getting this and that, and all that was just went on and on. It became boring, and it certainly did not happen because nothing was ever signed.
Lie. Papers were signed. Elements of the contract were signed. Was the final piece of paper signed? Well, I don't know about that. But papers were signed all the time. So that's not true. That's a barefaced lie. I'm going to get through the whole interview and then let people talk, give their opinions, because I think if we stop it every 5 minutes, it ain't going to work.
And that was also in breach of an agreement that any announcements would be, and we'd all announce them jointly. That was in this agreement we made. So that's where we got to. Tyson was getting quite frustrated, having been out the ring since last February 2020. And it got to a stage where we all got quite fed up being, every day we're getting closer to this is going to happen. And Tyson said, look, we got 48 hours to get this fight on, or I'm going to fight Wilder and just bypass everything. He then had a conversation with Prince Khalid in Saudi Arabia, who gave him a lot of comfort. And I think we've seen the video that went out as a result of that. Coincidentally, the next day, the arbitrator gave his decision, which stated that the fight against Wilder had to happen, and that was it. The unbeknown to us, and since has come to light, Usyk's lawyers have said they were going to send a letter before action. They were going to injunct everybody to stop the fight because it infringed Usyk's position. And remember, Usyk was promoted.
Shut your trap, you nutter. All right, so what you're saying there is that Usyk people brought in, that's a red herring because it didn't matter. WBO issued a statement that negotiations would have to be gone into, or Anthony Joshua would have to tell them why not. An extension was asked for and granted, and that will mean that they have time. Anthony Joshua side, Usyk side have time to agree the fee. If that time elapses and no fees agreed, then it will go to purse bids. So that's the situation with that. So the stuff about that was illegal. No, it's as I just described. But let's carry on, and then we're going to come into the end of the video. Everybody's going to have to say at the end of the video, H. Moni, I see you. I'll bring you in when we finish this piece, when Frank Warren stops talking, at least. Okay, let's continue.
And it was, as I say, they had their lawyer, whereas had written to everybody telling them that. So that was the position we were in. Subsequently, there was talk about trying to work a deal out with Wilder, but they weren't interested. And Tyson just said, look, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this obligation now. The arbitrator's given his decision. Let's get rid of it.
Okay, so he's talking about let's get rid of the obligation. Okay, so then he's acknowledging that there was an obligation. They're not questioning that there was an obligation. So they knew, Frank Warren, Bob Arum, Tyson Fury knew there was an obligation. They were just stringing this thing out for free publicity for their fight. The fight that they knew they were going to have, or rather the fight that they chose to have when they chose in December not to terminate the contract. Bob Arum could have done that. Bob Arum, Tyson Fury could have done that. They chose not to. So it's all just one big fat charade. Let's see if he says anything else of interest.
And say Wilder wanted the fight to happen. So that's it. So all this talk over God knows how long now happened. Wanted it, nothing more importantly, with his man in the ring, as Al Heyman, his promoter, wanted it, nothing more importantly, from their perspective, Deontay Wilder wanted the fight to happen. So that's it. So all this talk over God knows how long now, how many months, and every time you and I have done, I've always said nothing. There's nothing here till it's signed because there are a few stumbling blocks to be sorted out, and obviously there's 2 of them. Plus, we hadn't even sorted out the British TV side.
Okay, so you say you haven't sorted out the British TV signing, whatever. You know it was going to be BT and Sky, or the other way around. So what were you doing, Frank? What were you doing? You're in the UK. What were you doing? Why did you not have that sorted? What's going on there?
No, it's a fight. Everybody see that. If you announced that today without all the rubbish that's done before, everybody would be, you wouldn't have to be able to print enough tickets for it. And the fact is that, the fact of it all is it just became quite tedious. And as I say, from Tyson's perspective, he just wanted a fight. So now they've both got to come through their respective fights, and hopefully they do. And then it go on in. I hope it can go on in December. The thing about it though is AJ going to fight Usyk or vacate the title?
Let's see. Okay, carry on.
Directly with him, and which will make it probably a bit easier because the egos and everything will be going out the window.
All right. Okay. So that's that. Another part in the video. I'm not going to bother searching for it. Or another part in the video. Frank Warren. Well, actually, he says it in the title. Frank Warren says that Deontay. Hold on. Let me turn this properly. Deontay Wilder was not interested in step aside. He was not interested in step aside. Tyson Fury said that Deontay Wilder asked him for 20 million in step aside, but Frank Warren is calling Tyson Fury a liar. He's calling Tyson Fury a liar. He said no. Deontay Wilder did not ask for step aside. He's not interested in step aside. Okay. Before I go, hold on, what happened there? Okay, before I go to the panelists and before I let H Money in, let's take a quick look at these comments. This is the support comments, super chat comments, show sponsor comments. Okay, James Jameson says, fun fact, Fish Eyes got shot by one of his ex-boxers. Terry March. Okay, much appreciation for the support, James D. Lee, and more support. Second show sponsor is the Aaron Daily. Always a good show with the perfect balance. Rafi equals great host. John equals facts. Fight Doctor equals madness but fun. The Iron Kong when he's on equals cool balance. Okay, much appreciation for that, Aaron Daly, and James Jameson. Much appreciation. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, and hit the support button. Support the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio Show, Boxing Talk with Rafi. Keep this thing going. Okay. So we're going around the table now. Okay, so I'm gonna let the H Money in. H Money, I'm gonna have to kick you out if you don't behave yourself, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, Rafi. With respect to you and your platform. Sorry about that, Rafi. I'm ready.
Okay, so lead out. H Money, lead out. Talk about what you just heard.
The Frank Warren situation. Did you talk about what Frank Warren said? Well,
yeah, talk about what.
Yeah, see, the thing is this. Now it's like I'm seeing Eddie Hearn. He came out first, right? He was doing the blame game, blaming Tyson Fury, and I see that Frank Warren responded. But to be honest, Rafi, I'm not into that. Like the blame game. You know why the fight didn't happen? From what I know, the fight didn't happen because Deontay Wilder, he won the arbitration. We all know that everybody involved in the fight, they knew that Deontay Wilder was in arbitration. We knew it. You know, Me and you, everybody knew it. So of course Eddie Hearn knew about the situation. So with that being said, there was a lot of lying going on. Me personally, I think Eddie Hearn, he should be held accountable the most because he did the most talking. But I'm not here to to blame anybody on why the fight isn't happening. I'm excited that the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 3 is going to happen. I'm looking forward to watching Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk. And I seen some things from Alexander Usyk that they were part of the reason why the fight didn't happen as well. That that Usyk was I heard he was going to sue Anthony Joshua. If the
he had no case. He had no case. He had no case.
Just hear me out. Hear me out. I heard that Alexander Usyk and his team, they were willing to sue Anthony Joshua for not making that fight happen. He's the mandatory. So Usyk,
he had no case. Carry on. He had no case, so carry on.
Yeah, but Usyk, he wanted to fight with AJ. So from what I'm hearing, Usyk had something to do with maybe this undisputed fight not happening.
No, he didn't. He was ordered to fight. He was ordered to fight Joe Joyce. That's a red herring. I'm just telling you. But carry on.
Okay, Rafi, please give me my time. And if you look it up, I'll find the link. I'll drop it.
That's what's been said. I know that's what's been said. I'm just telling you that the WBO had mandated that he would need to fight Joyce. So what you're hearing is a red herring, my friend. But carry on.
Okay, yeah. So no matter what happens or what the situation might be, we know that Anthony Joshua must fight Alexander Usyk, and Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury must fight. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not here to bash anybody. That's all I had to say on that topic.
Okay. Voice is getting croaky. Let's keep it moving. Thank you, H. Moni. Let's go over to the fight doctor.
So, I mean, look, Larry Merchant once described boxing as the theater of the unexpected. And I look at it more as like the theater of the three rings because it's a circus. Always has been, always will be. And this is prime example of the circus that boxing proves itself to be over and over again. Bob Arum being the ringmaster and Eddie Hearn being the clown. So, yeah.
Ringmaster the clown. I'll carry on.
Well, and indeed, I think that's the way it played out, okay? Because in this particular situation, Arum owned Hearn.
Arum had owned Hearn. Oh, Karen. Owned Hearn.
Yeah, so, I mean, again,
Okay.
Again, Arum seems to have had a plan B already in place, and Eddie Hearn was the one
that wasn't the plan B.
That was surprised in the maze.
That wasn't a plan B. That was a plan A. But carry on. That was treachery and treason. You're applauding and lauding a man for his treachery and treason. But anyway, listen. You was talking about how Frank Warren kind of, what does he do? He bodied Eddie Hearn, did he? Come on, talk me through that. How did that work?
Hey, Rafi, I'm sorry. Let me just say one thing, Rafi. Now I found it. The videos by Sporting Icons. This is what he said. Alexander Usyk was taking legal action if Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury happened, says Frank Warren. So let's not blow that under the rug. Let's talk about that. Eddie knew it, bro.
He couldn't take legal action because his fight with Joe Joyce was mandated by the WBO. Okay, so finish up what you're saying, the fight doctor. Finish up that lunacy that you're saying. Come on with it. You said that Frank Warren bodied or worse that effect Eddie Hearn, bro. I just listened to the interview, and all it's shown me is that a load of waffle, just pure waffle. And the only person he bodied was actually Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury made a fake allegation, one of many. A fake allegation that Deontay Wilder had asked him for $20 million to step aside. Frank Warren came out and categorically stated that Deontay Wilder has not made any request for step aside. In fact, he will not accept step aside. So I put it to you that the only person that Frank Warren bodied was his own guy, Tyson Fury, fight doctor.
Look, at the end of the day, I don't care what they say. The only thing I look at is what they do, right? And if we look at Frank Warren, if we look at Eddie Hearn, between those two guys, one of them, their fighter has a fight signed, and the other one doesn't. So it's not what they say. It's not what you say. It's what you do. And it seems to me that Frank Warren has looked out for his guy's best interest because he's got him a fight and an easy one on top of that, making a ton of money. What has Eddie Hearn done for Anthony Joshua? Can somebody answer that question?
Okay, so that's you. John D. Lee. Over to you as we,
Okay, well,
you just sent me something.
I'm just putting some stuff to just support what you said about the WBO mandating Alexander Usyk and Joe Joyce fight for an interim title to make themselves mandatory.
Yeah,
that's well documented. Eddie Hearn also got a letter to from the WBO to allow the undisputed fight to take place.
Yes.
And then when the undisputed fight could no longer take place, the WBC have given Eddie Hearn until Monday of this week to negotiate Alexander Usyk or fight Percy. Fight purses will be ordered. Sorry,
you have it on the screen now. WBO ordered.
I'll
get back to you.
They have until Monday to negotiate the fight, or it'll go to purse bids.
Yeah.
So that's why they haven't signed and announced a fight yet, Doctor. Because you've got until Monday to do that, and then a purse bid will take place.
And also, this notion that Usyk was going to scupper the fight and take Joshua to court or whoever. No, the WBO ordered Alexander Usyk versus Joe Joyce. It was a WBO order. So Usyk can't just come and sidestep them and say,
it's interesting that
Joshua. It's ridiculous. Please, people, understand. There's a process and procedure to everything. So don't just please use some common sense, man. The WBO ordered Alexander Usyk versus Joe Joyce. So Usyk can't just sidestep a WBO order when he's fighting when he wants to fight for the WBO belt. Gentlemen, please. Anyway, over to you.
Well, the interesting point there as well is we've got Frank Warren putting out this story that Usyk was going to sue. What was Frank doing for his fighter Joe throughout this period of time?
Yeah.
Frank promotes Joe Joyce, and yet he's done absolutely nothing for him since he beat Daniel Dubois.
Nothing.
But that's actually a side issue. Also, I needed to correct myself. Hearn didn't promote Estrada Chocolatito, so I just wanted to make that correction.
Okay.
So it's just more of the same. They're all heaping the blame on the person doing the work while they sat there on the sidelines. And to suggest that Eddie Hearn has no plan B, he's got a mandatory with the WBO to negotiate. and the purse bids are ordered for Monday, this coming Monday. So I don't understand what the point
is real.
They're also actually talking about having Wembley for the fight on the 24th of August. And if Wembley isn't available, the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So, yeah, Joshua will have stadium fight against Alexander Usyk unless he drops a WBO belt. And should he do that, there's a Dillian White fight. And they've also talked about an Andy Ruiz fight.
I thought he's got no plan B.
But why would he drop his belt though?
A, B, and C. He's got A, B, and C plans lined up, and he's got until Monday to get to negotiate the Alexander Usyk fight.
He needs to make that fight happen. Why would he vacate that belt? Then it's a fight.
Who said he will do?
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
It's purse bid on Monday.
Purse bid on Monday, my friend. Purse bid on Monday.
That's a dangerous fight, Rafi, for Anthony Joshua. Alexander Usyk.
It's not dangerous as a lot of people think.
Did anybody see Chaz Witherspoon fight Alexander Usyk?
Yeah, I watched it.
It's not as dangerous as people think, my friend. Yes, no disrespect to Usyk. He is a skilled man, but let's not pretend he's not gone up a weight class. Let's not pretend he's not 35. Let's not pretend that he is as potent at heavyweight as he was at cruiserweight. Let's not pretend. So I'm not disputing that it's not a nice little challenge. I'm not disputing that. But it's not as big a a thing as some people may think.
Rafi, when you look at it,
too big, too
when you
strong.
look at, yeah, I understand, Rafi, but when you look at Alexander Usyk, his accolades as a fighter, an Olympic gold medalist, undisputed champion, he's top 5 pound for pound on a lot of people's list. He does bring a lot of a lot of danger to Anthony Joshua when you think about his boxing skills, his speed, his hand speed, his foot speed, his boxing skills. He can move. And we know Anthony Joshua does have a problem with fatigue. He does get tired in fights. And if Anthony Joshua was busy chasing Alexander Usyk around, he could possibly get tired in the mix. And even Michael Hunter, shout out to Michael Hunter. He did an interview with Lady Chan. Shout out to Lady Chan. Michael Hunter said he picks Usyk to win. And I interviewed a fighter, Ahmed Al-Abali. He's a light heavyweight. He's a contender. He's Tyson Fury's teammate. He also said that that's a dangerous fight. But I think he picked AJ. But he mentioned how dangerous that fight is. I think it is. It's a good fight. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, wanted to done this thing at half past the hour. 1:30. We've run over. But thanks to the super chat dominators, thanks to the show sponsors, James Jameson. Fun fact: Fish Eyes got shot by one of his ex-boxers. Indeed. So thanks to the James Jameson and the Aaron Daly. Always a good show with perfect balance. Rafi equals great host. John equals facts. Fight Doctor equals madness but fun. Iron Kong when he's on. Cool balance. Okay, so thanks to those guys. They allowed us to run a little bit over time, but we're coming to the end of the thing now. We have come to the end. I'm going to go around the table one more time. Let everybody have their say, their final words. Thanks to everybody for coming. Oh, by the way, people in the chat, people over there in the chat, hit that like button. If you've not already done so, hit that subscribe button. And if you've not already done so, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. I almost said tunes there. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I don't know why I'm saying all this now because we haven't finished. Okay, what I'm saying is hit the like button. Anyway, okay, let's go around the table. My point of view on this whole thing. Frank Warren came out and talked a lot of platitudes. What is a platitude? It's just a statement with no foundation. You didn't show no workings. It was all just regurgitated nonsense. Oh, well, they messed us about and we didn't know what was going on. So we went ahead and made a fight with Deontay Wilder. No, Deontay Wilder did not ask for step-aside money. He's not interested in step-aside. So he just showed his man Tyson Fury there to be a liar. But hey, tell me something we didn't already know. Very fair show. I liked it. Actually, I think it was good. It was very good. I think you'll stand the test of time. But anyway, let's get crack-a-lacking. Time waits for no man. Okay, so a load of crapola from Frank Warren talking nonsense. Where do we start? Okay, fight. No, H Money, last in. Yeah, so okay, so you go first now. H Money, your final words, please. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for dropping on, my friend. Thank you. Your final words.
Yeah, absolutely, Rafi. I want to say thank you to you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Shout out to everybody on the panel, everybody in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm looking forward to the big fights in boxing. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. The trilogy is obviously the biggest fight in boxing. Tyson Fury, he wants to knock out Deontay Wilder again. Tyson Fury, he wants to put another dent in his head, Rafi. He wants to crack his skull again. And I think that's what's going to happen. I had a great opportunity yesterday to talk to Tyson Fury's trainer, Sugar Hill. I talked to him last night on Instagram Live with Salita from Salita Promotions. And, I told Sugar Hill, Sugar, I need another knockout, Sugar. Crack his skull again. Knock the lies out of Wilder. and Sugar start laughing. He said, H Money, I'll let you do the talking. I got Sugar Hill's number. I will be doing an interview with him soon, God willing. Shout out to Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. I think that's a great fight. Whenever you can get 2 Olympic gold medalists, a 2-time heavyweight champion, 2-time unified heavyweight champion like Anthony Joshua, and you match him up with somebody like Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk, who's known for having great boxing skills from the Ukraine. We know about great fighters from Ukraine like the Klitschko brothers, who ruled the heavyweight division for years, for about a decade. We know about great fighters from the Ukraine like Vasily Lomachenko. You understand me? And now you got Alexander Usyk to carry on the torch. It's going to be a great fight. I think it's it's a dangerous fight for Anthony Joshua, but I do got Anthony Joshua winning the fight. Like Rafi said, Joshua's the bigger fighter. Joshua's strong. He's powerful. So I'm going to go with Joshua because of the size advantage. And, man, shout out to everybody, man, that supports the sport of boxing. And I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the opportunity, Rafi. And Devin Haney this Saturday. Devin Haney, the next Floyd Mayweather, baby. Devin Haney is the new star in boxing. Shout out to Devin Haney.
Oh.
He will knock out Jorge Linares. It's Haney.
Okay, and that was the H Monet. Much appreciation goes out to the H Monet. Rafi got things to do. The Fight Doctor. Your final words, please. Thanks for coming on. The language was a bit beyond the pale, but never mind. Thanks for coming on. Your final words, the Fight Doctor.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure. Shout out to Mr. D. Lee. Always a pleasure to chop it up with you, sir. Well, Rafi, you made a very astute observation when you said that time waits for no man, and that's true. Time waits for no man, but $2 whores wait for anyone with the $5 bill.
Okay, the Fight Doctor just insistent on bringing this thing down to the gutter.
He seems to be a great expert on these ladies.
These $2 whores. I don't know. I think the Fight Doctor has more information on these $2 whores that
it sounds like the voice of experience potentially.
He cares to admit, but yeah, he's talking about top shelf. Fight Doctor, please raise your game. There's levels to this thing. I mean, $2. I mean, can't you bump it up to $5?
Well, it sounds like that's what he waves around.
I think you need to bump it up to $5, brother. Them $2 option, the $2, what do you call it? That ain't no Happy Meal, bro. That $2 meal, that ain't no Happy Meal, bro. That's a very unhappy meal. But anyway, let's raise the game, not lower it. Let's raise the tone, not lower it. Talking about tone. We got tone in the building. I think we got a tone in the building. Where is he? Where is the tone? Where is the tone? We're trying to raise the tone. Okay. I've overrun. I want to finish this thing at the 1 hour 30-minute mark. But hey, were you not entertained? I think you were. Okay. So John D. Lee, we come to the end of this shiznix. Could I have your final words, please?
Yeah. To be honest, the most interesting thing we've talked about for me is Daniel going to Shane. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Daniel can do under Shane. It may take a couple of fights, but I think it's a really good move.
Mm-hmm. For real.
As for the rest of this circus, I'd be very interested to see if they actually end up doing it in Raiders Stadium, because I think it's going to be in the T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And B, what the American pay-per-view numbers are. And if this was really going to generate more money. I think ultimately Bob has got ties to Vegas and ESPN, and he's worked on keeping those ties happy. And it wouldn't surprise me if AJbxng actually generates more cash than Wilder Fury. But we'll see.
We shall see. And that was the John D. Lee. Much appreciation goes out to the John D. Lee. We got there. We did it. 1 hour 55. Damn. Trying to get this shiznix down to 1 hour 30. But hey, we had to chop it up. Want to chop it up. We did. I feel it was a good one. I feel it was another good one. super chats or support from the James Jameson, from the Aaron Daly. Takes these guys and gals to hit that support button to keep this shizzle growing and growing and paying for itself. Yes, yes, yes. Much appreciation goes out to everybody. Who said it? James Jameson said, I've changed my mind about Daniel. I think he might make it under McGuigan. Good team. Straight up and down. Okay. So that's it. That's the show. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comments. It's the shares. And it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. And we are out. Blessed.